I guess I was quite naive and I was still finding my way through the system. And I was very reliant on my specialist until I made this connection with my GP, and me realising that really she's the critical part, she's the cornerstone really in bringing everything together. So I definitely saw that my primary point of contact is my GP in terms of knowing my holistic self, and because it's not just the cancer, the GP's and looks after all aspects of my health. So it was good to have her involved in that aspect.
We've seen many improvements in cancer care over the last decade. I think one of the key areas that we've had increasing awareness of is the need to provide both specialist and generalist care to people who are living beyond their cancer diagnosis.
Survivorship, for me as a general practitioner, is important. And the fact that survivorship means more than treatment of the cancer. It's that ongoing journey with the cancer diagnosis, looking after the patient, looking after the carers as well. And certainly as general practitioners, it's not just the cancer, but other things, heart health, lung health, mental health, all those things are part of survivorship. And for us as general practitioners, working closely with our hospital partners and also allied health practitioners.
Once cancer treatment is finished, not just at that point, but particularly at that point, I think it's a great opportunity to be clear with the patients how much knowledge they have in relation to their particular diagnosis. What I'm referring to here are the optimal care pathways that have been developed through the Health Department and the Cancer Council of Victoria, and they are often a very good guide for what to expect for a patient right through the cancer journey.
I like them to have an understanding of what the late effects of their therapy are, and then setting the expectation as to what's going to be looked at in terms of side effects of therapy. So toxicities to the heart, fertility, sometimes to the lungs, and then also the psychosocial side of things.
In survivorship, some patients may not need a lot of assistance through the hospitals or general practice. They go back to work and they live fulfilling lives with loved ones. There are those who may struggle, and although they might be disease-free or cancer-free, there is some trauma post-diagnosis.
There are a lot of things that a patient can do to improve their survivorship care. One of the key things is, I think they need to have a GP. And once they've decided on a GP, they need to let their specialist know who that person is. And that way the communication can flow well.
Sometimes patients will, particularly if they feel that their diagnosis of cancer may have been delayed, that's often a real challenge to an ongoing trusting relationship with their GP. Sometimes that perception of delay may be real. Sometimes it may just be that cancers are often very difficult to diagnose, and particularly pick them up early if the symptoms are not very specific. If there are concerns around that, that can have a major impact on an ongoing relationship with their GP. One option is actually to be very open with their GP and talk about what happened to them leading up to their diagnosis. But if they really feel that they don't want to go back to their GP because of concerns about what happened to them leading up to their diagnosis, then looking around to find another GP who they feel they might meet their needs better, who they've had good recommendations from other family or friends, is another option. But ultimately it's about trying to find a GP who you can develop a trusting relationship, and an ongoing continuous relationship is another key aspect of good survivorship care.
It's important to have the continued care of my GP, and since we've got through the rough period of post-operative, and she said to me, right now it's time to start looking at the other aspects of my health, that we perhaps had delayed some of those tests, things like a mammogram, or we're starting to tick those off the list now, so that we're back on track with just all my tests up to date.
So patients have a really important role in this, what I think is a partnership of the patient, the specialist and the GP. It's important they ask questions of their specialist and of their GP. Express their concerns and help to understand what exactly it is that they can expect of their specialist and how their GP fits into their cancer care. There are other members of the practice team that can help as well. Practice nurses are a key part of the practice team and often can provide some really important additional support for people with cancer, again, during treatment and after treatment. So again, recognising that there's the whole practice team that can support them.
It's always important to remember that it is usually the GP that has referred us the patient in the first place, and they often have more holistic knowledge of the patient than we even manage to gain in the time that we're actually providing specialist treatment. And going forward, the GPs are better placed then to look after the different needs that a patient might have, which are not just specifically related to the fact that they've had cancer.
As a general practitioner, I feel we're very lucky. One of the reasons I got into general practice was being able to look after patients, not just one patient, but in their family, multi-generations. And having that connection, being on top of things for them and their family is something I enjoy about general practice.